by people who are well connected and well funded and travel in the social circles that you and I, an average American, can never come close to.
I quite agree, Gail. We have a guest calling in.
Okay.
I've been expecting. Let me interrupt you a minute, Gail. Can you hear me, Amy?
Yes, I can.
Amy, she's a 40-year-old daughter. You're a 40-year-old mother of a 3-year-old daughter. How did the hospital screw this up and give this to your stepfather and mother who you're in constant conflict with?
Yes, well, it is a long story, but I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. But actually what happened was I was guided by a board-certified doctor to go to the hospital that day. I didn't
Yes.
meet there. I went straight there. There was some suspicions about, and due to having a very abusive childhood and a horrible life with them, there was some suspicions. When I got to the hospital, I did not ask for a police officer. I just simply to get more tests done. With no warrant shown, nothing. A lady came in. I still don't know who she was today. She said she was going to change my daughter's diapers and bring her right back. And 13 hours later, I was sitting there unable to leave the room. I mean, I couldn't believe it was America. I couldn't find out where my child was. I didn't know what was going on. The police came in. They were badgering me. A police officer told me, we need to know why you have arsenic in you. We need to know why you have these things, and you need to tell me now. And I asked for a lawyer. I said, I'm not comfortable with this. And he said, if you were to drop dead tonight, we need to know who the suspect is. And after about 20 minutes of badgering me and making me feel really nervous, I finally said, well, coming from where I came from, I'd have to say I don't have a lot of enemies that I know about, but I know my own mom and stepfather can't stand me, and I know that they could be a likely suspect. Next thing I knew, they did a mental health alert on me. They threw me in a mental institution like a dog. They tied me up with rags. And at about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was transferred to where my parents live in another city. I live in Houston. They took me to Kingwood, and they didn't show up 3 days later for me to go to my hearing. And 10 days later, a psychiatric judge ruled it out, and they still never gave my daughter back. And it's been almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they do that, you know. They're
You and your grandmother believe that your mother caused the death of your father. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, I would like to have his body dug up because obviously if he has anything, arsenic does go into your bones. It's, you know, something that is not curable. And my father and I had similar problems when I was in high school while my mom was having an affair on this man that she ended up marrying. And she left my poor dad at home all the time to take care of me and my brother. She'd come home 1, 2 in the morning. She was abusive to him as well. I grew up watching my mom break plates on his head and all kinds of horrible things. I mean, she is really, I mean, I hate to say this because she is my mother, and I never thought the day would come that I'd say this, but I believe she is evil, and I believe she's capable of doing the most horrid things. I mean, the things she did to me in high school, something you'd see in a movie. I'm just now coming public with my story. A website was just done with black and white evidence, proving black and white evidence that this is not hearsay, how they illegally kidnapped my daughter in the state of Texas. And already, in just a matter of days, already almost 2,000 supporters, and they're lighting candles in Europe and England every night to bring my daughter back.
So the arsenic that was in your bloodstream at the hospital that they found, you believe was a result of eating with your mother and stepfather for a week or 2 weeks?
Well, what happened was, if I have the date right, in 2006, I was married to a lawyer, patent lawyer, and he's also had a PhD in biochemistry. And he started noticing strange things, and I traveled and went to all kinds of doctors, including John Hopkins. And they confirmed the most unusual diseases, 1 in a million diseases, eosinophilic fasciitis syndrome, essential mixed cryoglobulinemia, pressure urticaria vasculitis. Well, none of this ran in my family. And as I started Googling it, I just couldn't make sense of why I was so sickly, and I was always worse when I was around them, and I'd get better as I stayed away from them. So what happened was they took my hair, my nails, my skin, and one of the top forensic labs in Texas, and they confirmed that I had arsenic, cadmium, which I believe is in battery acid, and very high levels of mercury poisoning. And I really went on and off with my mother. She convinced me with my stepdad it was in gasoline, and I did have a gasoline spill on me years ago, but when I Googled it, none of these ingredients that were in me were in gasoline. So I started questioning them, and the more I questioned them, the stranger they got. And I believe this whole thing was premeditated. I believe they had it out for me. I mean, since high school, my mom had it out for me really badly. I bounced around home to home. I lived senior year with another family for 8 months. They found me half starved in the woods. They found me covered in bruises. They testified to this. And they terminated my rights, saying that I imagined my abuse, therefore delusional, therefore crazy, even though I had numerous witnesses, which you'll see on my website, including my grandma, my aunt, my own cousins.
If people
and my
want,
parents had no witnesses, and they sided with them.
right? If people want to read more about your story, a friend of yours has put it up on Facebook with a timeline. What's the address of that Facebook? Can you tell me briefly?
Well, on Facebook, there's actually a group page that says, "Please bring back my daughter, who they
Please.
feel was illegally kidnapped."
Please
That
bring
was done
back
in
my
Europe.
daughter.
But there's another site, and that's not Facebook affiliated. That's like if you Google my name, you'll see stuff, even attacks on me for fighting for my daughter, very scary attacks, which is why I didn't come today, because I'm constantly threatened and I'm constantly harassed, so are my witnesses, and the police won't help me. I've tried FBI, I've tried everything, and we just can't seem to get any help. So
Right.
there is a site that finally put my evidence, which puts me in a lot of danger, black and white evidence. I
And what-
believe it all started going up about 6 days ago.
And what's that
And
site?
it still goes up daily. It's called BEAT, B-E-A-T, CPS, Ramona, R-A-M-O-N-A, Mayon, M-A-Y-O-N.com.
All right.
And
Well,
you'll see hundreds of documents. You'll see that CPS dropped my case and illegally reopened it with no real reason after my parents threatened with their money and power. Remember, my stepfather was appointed by Governor Perry. Really important for people to know that. If these were poor, people, maybe even minority people, I hate to say it, I don't believe that they would have taken my daughter, but they had very high status here in Texas, and I had no chance.
your stepfather was appointed by Texas Governor Perry to what?
Head of the dental board.
And your your stepfather, he's a dentist of renown?
He's an oral surgeon.
An oral surgeon. And
Yes.
you think he's connected with some of the Bush regime?
I know that he golfs for a fact. He's golfed with ex-President Bush, and I know that he hangs out with our congressmen, and I know my parents have had these really big to-do parties at their house with very
Right.
big Texas people that are in politics here.
Does he
So
hang
I
out?
know I had no standing. They had a very expensive lawyer, had a very inexpensive lawyer, and it took them in the courtroom 4 lawyers to my one, and the judge gave them 6 days and allowed me 1 day and cut out about 12 of my witnesses in about a 1,000-picture slideshow.
I
So
get
it
th-
was totally rigged from
I
day
get it.
one.
Does the
I had no chance.
You had no chance. I get it. The CPS thing is abominable all across the country. We'll have to get you in the studio and get some of your witnesses here. Thanks for calling, Amy. I just want to, is the congressman that your stepfather golfs with, by any chance, is that Congressman Poe?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've never really been close to my stepfather.
Okay.
I just always knew he was a pretty powerful man here in Texas.
Well,
I
thanks.
don't know all.
Thanks for calling in, Amy. We'll get this
Okay,
up on YouTube
thank
tonight.
You, y'all. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was Amy Charron. Beat CPS. Google her, Amy Charron. She's on Facebook. She's all over the place. She's been through a horrendous story. I've been taping her on the phone for 8 months. About 8, 9 months and she's got a horrendous story. Way too much to go into tonight. She was supposed to be here tonight, but like she said, because of the threats and having to go into hiding, trying to sell her house in Houston, she couldn't be here tonight. So we'll get back to our propositions.